Let's start recording. Today, as an introduction, I'm gonna play a video very briefly, and then we'll start discussing the PowerPoint that I brought. And also, that PowerPoint is already in your platform, guys. So, and also in the platform, says that you tells you where the vocabulary is and from where you have to take the vocabulary in order to write the vocabulary. Remember, we are studying second term, second trimester, okay? So you have to fold your book, your notebook, fold the page, and then start writing the beginning of the Renaissance or Italian Renaissance. That's the title of today's class. Let me see. The Italian Renaissance. That's the title, Italian Renaissance. Okay. As an introduction, I'm gonna play a video that talks about Leonardo DiCaprio, no, Michelangelo, I think. Yeah, remember Michelangelo? What was one of these two very important artists in this era of the Renaissance? Okay, so let's watch this short video and then we'll continue discussing the PowerPoint that talks about the Italian Renaissance.
Today we're going to learn about the famous artist Michelangelo. Michelangelo de Lodovico Buonarroti Simoni, known simply as Michelangelo, was an Italian Renaissance sculptor, painter, architect, and poet. He was born in 1475 in Caprese, Italy. When he was still very young, his family returned to Florence, and his mother died when he was only 6 years old. Michelangelo's father sent him to school, but he was not very interested in learning what was taught there. All he wanted to do was paint and become an artist. In 1488, when he was 13 years old, Michelangelo was apprenticed to an artist, Domenico Ghirlandaio, and in 1490 he was sent to continue his training with the powerful Medici family. Over the next few years he began producing sculptures and honing his skills. In 1496 Michelangelo moved to Rome. While there he was commissioned to create a statue of Jesus after he was crucified, laying in the lap of his mother Mary. Michelangelo was 24 years old when he completed this statue, called Pietà, which is regarded as one of the greatest masterpieces of sculpture in the history of the world. Michelangelo returned to Florence and accepted another commission, to create a statue of David from a huge block of marble. He worked on the sculpture for more than 2 years. When it was finished, the statue of David was more than 17 feet or 5 meters tall and weighed around 6 tons. Today, David is Michelangelo's most famous sculpture. In 1505, the newly elected Pope Julius II invited Michelangelo to return to Rome to create his tomb, a project he worked on off and on for the next 40 years. 3 years later, he received another commission when the Pope asked him to paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Michelangelo considered himself a sculptor and not a painter, and did not want to take the job, but he could not refuse the Pope. The work in the Sistine Chapel took 4 years to complete, and was more than 134 feet or 41 meters in length, and 46 feet or 14 meters in width. Michelangelo painted a total of 343 figures depicting stories from the Bible, including the creation of Adam, which is one of the most famous paintings in history. Painting on a ceiling was difficult. Michelangelo had to work on a scaffolding that brought him high enough to reach it. Contrary to popular belief, he did not lie down to work, but stood and painted above his head. After his work in the Sistine Chapel, Michelangelo was considered a great artist. He made many statues, paintings, drawings, and frescoes. He wrote hundreds of poems. He was also an architect and designed the dome of St. Peter's Basilica. Michelangelo was so famous that there were 2 biographies of him published while he was still alive. He died in 1564 at the age of 88, only 3 weeks before his 89th birthday. Today, Michelangelo is considered one of the foremost artists of the High Renaissance, alongside Raphael and Leonardo da Vinci. He had a profound impact on the artists that followed him and continues to be studied today. His works are among the most famous and widely reproduced in history. I hope you enjoyed learning about the famous artist, Michelangelo, and seeing some of his beautiful work.
As you see, Michelangelo was one of the greatest artists in those. Now let's begin the class. These PowerPoints are already loaded up in your platform, guys. Okay, so you can reread it again anytime you like. Also, I'm recording this video for you to listen to it once again. Okay, now the topic of today is the Italian Renaissance. Italian Renaissance because everything started in that area in Italy. Okay. It says over here, European trade with Asia increased in the year 1300s. Trade with Asia. Remember before everything in Roman area, in the Roman era, they used to have, or they opened this trade with Asia, and they call it the Silk Road. Okay, so they start doing some trades with Roman people. Okay, so but the thing is that back in the Middle Ages, or the people start doing some trades once again. And then you remember that in one of those merchants, there were some rats, and in those rats, it brought that disease that almost killed, like it says, 25 million people back in those years. That was the end of the Middle Ages, and at the same time was starting the Renaissance. He said, diseases did not damage farm, buildings, ships, merchants, or gold. People who survived could use these things to raise more money and make new products. They did just that. European economy began to grow again. As more goods became available, price went down. People could buy more of the things they wanted. Trade increased, and the new products prepare in the markets. Now, over here, they reopen again the Silk Road, La Ruta de la Seda. The Chinese and Romans did business together from about AD from year 1 until year 200. Products moved east and west along the Silk Road. This caravan road started in China and ended in the Mediterranean Sea. When the Roman Empire and the Hans dynasty fell, soldiers no longer protect travelers between the areas, so that route was very dangerous. So they once again made the road safer for the travelers and traders. Among these traders was the remarkable man from Venice, and his name was Marco Polo. So Marco Polo and his family, they decided to move to China and to try new things. So Marcos Polos saw many amazing things in China. For example, the Chinese used paper money, usaban papel moneda, in addition to the coins that Europeans used. En vez que los europeos usaban era la moneda, o como podemos hacer aquí el Balboa o el Martinelli. Ya, the Chinese, they used to have, ellos tenían el papel moneda. Ya. Now here in this picture, you see all the travel that Mr. Marco Polo did. Marco Polo traveled between 1271 until 1295. It's more than 20 years. It's like 23 years, 22 years traveling and meeting new things, new areas, new regions here in India and over here in China. So all this during this 20 years, he's been doing this traveling, and at the end he was bringing some goods and items to Venice, okay? Now, while his family and uncle stayed in China, because remember they took all his family, Marcos Polo visited India and Southeast Asia. He traveled as a messenger. Él se convirtió en el mejor amigo del emperador Mongol. Okay, he traveled as a messenger from the Mongol emperor. Marco Polo spent 20 years living and traveling in Asia. Eventually, the Polos returned to Venice. Ellos regresaron después de 20 años y regresaron nuevamente a Venecia. Their arrival helped Marco Polo record his journey. At the time, many people didn't believe Polo's stories. Él comenzó a escribir sus historias, pero mucha gente dice que no les creía, pero poco a poco comenzaron a convencerse. The trade between Asia and Europe increased. Italian merchants organized much of this trade. Now, en Europa eran 4 ciudades las que tenían un mayor auge en cuanto a los movimientos de mercancía. Eran esto que está Florencia, Venecia, Milán y Génova. Venecia y Génova eran uno de los puertos los puertos principales donde arribaban muchos barcos con mercancía de Asia. Entraban ya sea por aquí o entraban por acá. Y de aquí, este era el centro, y de aquí se redistribuía a Europa toda la mercancía, los bienes que se traían de allá de Asia. Estos puertos eran muy importantes, Venice y Génova. Okay. Vamos a ver lo que hablamos aquí. The trade cities and Italy grew wealthy. Se hicieron mucho más ricos. And competed against each other. Se competían entre ellos mismos. Trade cities in Italy. En el año 1300, 4 northern Italian cities had become trading centers. Florence, Genoa, Milan, and Venice. The cities boosted with activity. Shoppers there could buy beautiful things from Asia. Okay. Aquí es lo que ya le había hablado de los puertos. The ports and manufacturing centers. Italian cities play very important roles in trades. One role was as port of the Mediterranean Sea. Venice and Genoa were Italia's main port cities. La ciudad de puertos, las principales. Merchant ships brought spices and other luxuries from Asia into the city's harbor. From there, merchants shipped to goods across the Europe. De ahí es que se redistribuye a toda la Europa. Cities like Venice were well positioned, también posicionado on some trade routes and between Asia and Europe. También aquí hablamos de los musulmanes y los turcos. Muslims trade had strong ties with Venetian rulers and merchants. Ellos tenían buenas relaciones entre los musulmanes y los venecianos. However, more than goods were exchanged. Sin embargo, más de productos o bienes fueron intercambiados. ¿Por qué? Porque llegaban mucha gente de diferentes partes del mundo. People from many cultures interact on these trade routes. This interaction between different cultures naturally expose people onto other ideas. In this way, ideas developed after the Middle Ages would spread as well. But another rule of Italian cities was in the manufacturing. Esas ciudades, esos centros de la manufactura, porque ahí se creaba, por ejemplo, en Venecia se creaba ¿qué? Glases, o sea, muchas obras de arte en base al vidrio, glasses. Workers in Milan made weapons. En Milán se construían armas y se reunía lo que era el silk, que es la seda. En Florencia was a center for weaving wools. La lana y hacían telas. Some Italian merchant families became incredibly wealthy. Muchas familias se hicieron muy ricas debido al gran comercio que se daba en aquella época. Eventually, this wealth would help make Italian the focus of Europe. Ya entonces se convertía Italia en el foco, el centro de Europa en cuanto a la cultura. How this happened? ¿Cómo esto sucedió? Muy bien, vamos a ver cómo se suscitó esto. In most big Italian cities, a single rich merchant family controlled the government. En cada de estas ciudades, por ejemplo, en estas 4 había siempre una familia que mantenía el control, que era la más rica. En esta ocasión, the Italian government was called Signorian. Se llamaba Signoria ese tipo de gobierno, que era la familia poderosa, que era la que manejaba todo en el tiempo. This Italian government was called the Signoria. The head of this family, the Signor, el Signor ruled the city, era el que manejaba la ciudad. Under the Signoria, trade grew in Italy. In fact, the Signoria competed against each other to see whose city could grow richer. Competían entre ellas para ver cuál de estas 4 ciudades era la más rica. This also competed for fame también. Competían por su fama. Each one wanted to know as a powerful, wise, and devoted to his city. Now, aquí viene la parte que nos interesa a nosotros, que era en Florencia donde comenzó todo este movimiento renacentista. As Florence became a center for arts and learning, the Renaissance began. Florence. Veamos a ver qué sucedió. As the family grew rich and powerful, they wanted everyone to see what their money could buy. Although this factor affected most big Italian cities, one city, Florence, stand out and as an example of trade and wealth in this time. Se convirtió en la más poderosa. ¿Pero por qué? Gracias a esta familia. The greatest banker, el grandioso banquero en Florencia era la familia Medici family. En los años 1400, they were Florence's richest families, and by 1434, Cosimo de Medici, el señor, ruled the city, era el que se encargaba de manejar todo lo que se tenía que hacer en esa ciudad, en Florence. Cosimo de Medici, la familia Medici. As ruler, Cosimo de Medici wanted Florence to become the most beautiful city in the world. Quería que Florencia sea la ciudad más hermosa y bella de todo el mundo. Entonces, ¿qué fue lo que hizo? Vamos a contratar gente, artistas, arquitectos, personas que puedan hacer cambiar toda esta ciudad. So he hired artists to decorate his palace. He also paid architects to redesign many Florence buildings. Reconstruyeron totalmente. Fue un emporio, un centro, quería que fuese la ciudad más hermosa de todo el mundo, así que contrató mucha gente. Tenía plata para eso, así que él lo logró. Aquí vemos, esta es la familia de Medici Family. Medici Family. Esta es la familia. Mira qué gente más simpática. Mira tú. Cosimo de Medici also valued the education. Parece que él era un banquero y él valoraba mucho la educación. After all, his banks, los bancos que tenía, needed workers who could read, write, and understand math. Así que él se dedicó a promover la cultura y la educación. Okay? To improve education, para mejorar la educación, he also built libraries and collected books. Comenzó a crear muchas librerías. ¿Para qué? Para elevar el nivel de cultura de todas las personas en Florence. During the time that Medici family held power, Florence became the center of Italian art, literature, and culture. In other Italian cities, rich families tried to outdo the Medicis, traerse lo mismo to each other in their support of their art and learning. O sea, además quisieron hacer the same thing the other cities. So over here started the Renaissance. This love of art and education was a key feature of a time when called the Renaissance. The Renaissance, the word Renaissance means rebirth, el renacer, el renacimiento. What was being reborn? ¿Qué es lo que estaba haciendo, que estaba renaciendo? La cultura sobre, el interés por la cultura griega y romana. The interest in Greek and Roman writing was revived. Also new was an emphasis on people as individual. Se enfocaba en el hombre como un individuo. Acuérdense, en la Edad Media se enfocaba en el Dios. Dios era el centro de todo. Sin embargo, en la Edad renacentista cambió, hubo un cambio. El hombre era el centro del universo. ¿Okay? Like it says, they studied history, literature, public speaking, and art, subject that emphasize the action and ability of a human. Todas estas son acciones y habilidades del ser humano, por eso desarrollaron todas estas artes del ser humano. Juntos, these subjects are called humanities. Se llama humanidad esta materia. And the study of humanities led to it. El estudio de la humanidad lideró al humanismo. Ahí nace el humanismo. Muy bien. Dice, people's newfound interest in the humanities led them to respect those who could write and create or speak well. The result, the talent of writers and artists won great fame and honor. This too was a great change for the Middle Ages when the most people had worked only on glorifying God. Como ya lo había dicho, en aquel entonces era en los Middle Ages, en la Edad Media, todo era hacia Dios. Pero en la edad moderna, digo en la edad del renacentismo, se cambió todo. Okay, todo cambió. Todo cambió. Muy bien, vamos a parar aquí, chicos, son las 10:14. 10:14, mañana continuamos con la última parte del Renacimiento y así cerramos todo lo referente a este tema, al capítulo que nos va a dar esta semana. La otra semana ya estaremos con otro capítulo nuevo. Mañana terminamos este capítulo. Acuérdense, sigan trabajando en el vocabulario, trabajen en los assessments que ya están escritos ahí en su plataforma, tengan todo eso listo. En cualquier momento se lo vamos a pedir, así que ustedes ya deben trabajar a la par que nosotros estamos dando la información. ¿Entendido, chicos? Bueno, María Paula, que es la única que está aquí en la pantalla, los demás cerraron su pantalla, no me quieren ver, perfecto. Ahora es que lo están abriendo, ahora es que están. No se preocupen, tranquilos, chicos, nos estamos viendo, pórtense bien, ¿ya?